The Freddie Gray story is just one more link in a growing chain of high profile incidents that are being used to create a image in the media, blacks versus law enforcement. This week, funeral services were accompanied by protests. Those protests led to conflicts. Those conflicts led to rioting, looting, burning, all in the city of Baltimore, and it's spreading. Still, there are many questions. What's your take on the coverage that we see in the media? Because me personally, I know the history of rioting in America. I'm looking at the different incidents. I'm seeing how the media picks and chooses which cases to put forward and plays with different people's emotions, getting different groups involved. And yet, there's always a bomb in the background, always waiting for the next shoe to drop. What do you think, Nerdy?
Well, it is funny how certain stories become big stories. And I was watching all the 24-hour news coverage of this. And it amazes me, just 2 weeks ago, a story about a black man who was shot. And you could tell white people knew that man was shot because everyone watched the police in North Carolina, Walter Scott, watched the police plant evidence. Isn't it amazing how this never became a major story? CNN talked about it. Fox News spent 5 minutes on it. Other stories, no one, they showed you it and it was over with. None of this, let's bring in the pundits. Let's talk about all these issues now. Now, every time blacks are doing something negative, now we can make the story bigger. Oh, he has a serious criminal record. Matter of fact, let's show the world this man was a drug dealer, because that's what they're doing now. If we could paint this man negative, that's how we'll make the story big, so we could talk about social issues, not the issue of the cops killing, but the social issues that they say caused all this. And I don't understand. And it's just like when I was telling you, what do I always say? Cops kill blacks, cops kill people every day. But this is only the third riot in the last 20 years or 25 years. Mm-hmm. You know, you had the LA riots, Ferguson. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about major riots, and now this or whatever, right? What did I tell you 2 weeks ago? I said, anywhere there's Crips and Bloods and gangs,
you're going to see
the rioting, because they're controlled by organized crime. Look at all this right here on the screen. What's that? Look at these headlines.
Time out.
Crips and Bloods team up to take out Baltimore cops. Baltimore PD say Bloods and Crips are uniting against them. Gangs unite to kill cops. Baltimore Police Department warns. Now, why is this important? Because it's just like I said, everywhere there's gangs. See, the gang members are the ones who is causing all the destruction. Now, of course, once they take the lead, the kids who look up to them. Of course, you could say indirectly, the politicians are involved. But I'm talking about who initiates this first move of mass destruction in the situation.
There it goes. Because, even if we just look at this one simple incident, we see what we know and what we don't know about the Freddie Gray incident. We know that he was apprehended by the police. We know that they put him in the police van and took him to lockup. We know that he stayed in his jail cell, whether he was unresponsive, where he couldn't talk, where he couldn't breathe, he couldn't move, and they just left him there, and we know he fell into a coma and died. What we don't know is why he was arrested in the first place. We don't know what happened. We don't know any of these things. There's information coming out now. Maybe he was in a car accident. Like you said, sometimes they're trying to paint, it could be this. It could be he was out selling drugs. Well, you know what? If he was in a car accident and he can't go to work, it seems like he got to do something to pay for all those hospital bills. These, I'm not giving excuses for selling drugs because that's in your community and everything. But there's so many questions left unanswered. And yet the whole reason that people are upset and push forward is things that they're seeing in the media. These are not things that are coming from black news sources that know the facts, who've talked to their family, who've had discussions with their family's lawyers. We're seeing interviews with kids on the street who are mad, who before this day never heard of Freddie Gray. Never in their life. We seeing people pass judgment, oh, the blacks are against law enforcement. Why would black people be against law enforcement? We have shit.
And who gonna protect you?
We want protection. We don't want anarchy. We don't want stuff burned
That's what they're
up.
trying to do.
And that's not the case. And yet you have a whole commentary, and it's set in such a crazy pressure cooker of, hey, you know what? Things need to change, but we need to talk about things changing, and we get advertising dollars, we get ratings, we get all of these things when we talk about things changing. But if they actually change, all that stops. So let's throw in this black-white issue. White cops killing black people. No, that's not even what we're talking about. What we're talking about is these people are killing people with impunity. And the impunity comes from that Negro over there. I'm sick of them doing that.
Exactly.
That's where it comes from.
Exactly.
It has nothing to, and people understand that. Even black people can look at a situation and be like, shh, that Negro getting on my nerves too. It has nothing to do with, oh, these white people are doing this and black people are doing this. This has to do with this whole power structure has created an image that everything black people do is criminal.
That's the problem. Instead of them, President Bush said it best. I mean, President Bush. Obama, you said it best.
I was going to say President Bush ain't never said nothing.
He came and said the criminals and the thugs. The problem is when you have Fox News and all these news outlets, they make it into a race issue. They bring up the questions. They try to hide it in it like it's an attempt. They're trying to find out why this happened. You know how the black community has been destroyed. You know it. You've been a part of it. But you in the media try to come and act like you have no fucking clue how that happened. It's a damn shame. And you sitting there going like, and then all of a sudden all these preachers come in talking about, well, let's march. Let's do this. This has been going on forever. Has it changed anything?
No.
Okay. The only way you get attention is you start burning up stuff. In America, let me tell you something. Look at America. They want to make rioting out to be a black thing, right? Look at this. Look at this. Look at all these riots. This is in the 1800s. Look at that. These is white people rioting. Look at all these riots. Look at the list.
White people burning their own community?
Look at that.
What good does that do?
Look at that.
Cincinnati, Tacoma,
Seattle. In Cincinnati, you know why they rioted? Because of a verdict came out that they didn't like. A verdict. Okay? In another Cincinnati, because somebody took their jobs. Immigrants was taking their jobs. Look at all these riots. For days white people,
and weeks on end.
Everybody throughout the history have rioting. After you get frustrated. Like, you know how I feel about drug dealers and gangbangers, right? But even at the end of the day, if they get arrested, they deserve fair treatment. So it doesn't matter this man's background. So stop trying to paint him negative. That's not the case. The case is, where's the information? This man died in custody.
And we don't even know why he was arrested.
Yeah. And watch Fox News and the conservatives, they all gonna focus on the crime aspect. But none of them said nothing when they seen that cop planting evidence on Walter Scott and shot him on video that we would have never known. So they coming out this report that there's another criminal that was in the van that heard Freddie trying to hurt himself, Freddie Gray. Did you hear about that? Beating himself up against the wall. Now, we all know how that work. Oh, yeah.
So they used the criminal as they paid informant on this time?
Hello. And you know who gonna believe that? Dumbass white people gonna believe that shit. Nobody black gonna believe that shit.
No.
Okay, because we know how it works. Okay, because if that, in the Walter Scott case, if the guy wasn't there videotaping what happened,
the officer's word would have been all she
same
wrote.
thing about this report getting ready. I don't give a damn what's said on this report. I don't care what facts came out. This man died in police custody. So what you trying to say? He rammed himself against the wall and broke his own spine? Who gonna break down?
sever
gonna
their
break their
spinal
own
cord
spine?
and actually crush the vertebrae, you can't do it.
Come on.
You can't do that to yourself.
But yet they're going to sit there. They're going to use all this for racial tension. They want to create this race war. Not amongst white and black people, amongst working class poor whites and working class poor blacks. So the rich man could be sitting on top just looking at us going like, look at them fools fighting each other. Okay, and that's what I try to explain to white people, you poor white people, whoever you are. Listen, we understand it's not even about race. The media makes it about race. It's about oppression. Okay? Police oppression. Look at all the shit black people have been through in this country. You didn't put drugs in our community. You didn't put AIDS in our community. I can go on for days. You got foreigners owning all the businesses. That's why them businesses getting burnt down, because them people probably didn't treat the customers with respect. I know right now, if I was younger, I might have burnt down some businesses in my community because I didn't like some of the people the way they would treat me when I came in the store. Okay? All this went down, but we still never riot. Do you know when we riot? You can go back and look at all the history of black riots from 1900s on to the 60s in Watts, on to the 70s, 90s, you name it. Do you know 99% of the riots all started with police brutality and nothing else? So why are you always trying to bring up all these other social ills when this go down? This is about oppression from the police.
Absolutely. 100%. The images that we see, and that's one of the things that I noticed even in this coverage. It's so politically driven. It's so directly influenced by the how this is going to be seen, how it's going to be perceived. Even when we see this line of riot police in riot gear, all of the dark-skinned police, all the black police, the Asian police are on the front lines, and the white police are there backing them up. Why is that? Is it to keep, because the rioters, maybe they won't throw bottles if they see black faces? That's not the case, because they're upset with the people who have been pushing them down and oppressing them. A lot of the things that we've seen coverage that said, these riots started when the protesters started throwing things and fighting, beating white people in a bar.
Gangbangers.
Yeah, because the gangbangers was down there. But those people were walking peacefully for several blocks. And as they walked past this bar, a bunch of white people started screaming at them. They're chanting Black Lives Matter. And the white people start chanting, we don't care, and hang niggers, and all this kind of stuff. And they start throwing chairs and bottles and breaking things at the protesters. Yeah, a fight's going to start. Yeah, they're going to get their butt whipped. But look how it was turned around on those people. Like, they did that drama. Like, they caused it. Like, they attacked these white people, saying that the mayor allowed it to happen. All of these things is the media twisting things to being something crazy. And one of the things that's gotten me, when we do look at the statistics. Now, I always say statistics don't lie, but statisticians do. When we look at the statistics, you see there's actually probably twice as many white people who die at the hands of the police than black people. And yet, those white people are actually doing something. If they die at the hand of the police, it's because they were in a shootout with the police. They were in the middle of a mass shooting. They were leading them on some type of a car chase where lives were involved and all of this type of things. These black people are dying in traffic stops. Freddie Gray, the arresting officer said Freddie Gray made eye contact with him and then turned and ran the other way. So they chased him down to arrest him. He didn't want to talk to you, and he's dead.
That's
now.
right. You a black man. You better show some respect. Okay. That's what they see. Fox News and all these media outlets, they always waiting for this type of opportunity, a chance to talk about the stereotypes of the black community. They don't really want to talk about racial issues. When have they ever talked about what the cops done? Never. So they wait for this to happen. Okay. Fox News and all these, they didn't even cover talking about rioting. Okay. You just said we rioting over oppression, over how we've been treated for years. Okay. What's done in the dark comes out to the light, right? So if this issue becomes to the light, that means there's been hundreds of other issues. Okay, so it's frustration, not to go out and loot, but to protest. Now you have some people who rioting because they feel this oppression. Now, but white students, like when Kentucky lost a basketball game, they was burning cars, turning over cars, burning police cars. Look at this. This is Kentucky. Nobody, come on.
No reason.
They rioting because they lost a basketball game. Wasn't front news, wasn't.
Now let me ask you this.
Wasn't.
In all of those riots, are those people not putting police lives in danger?
But they're white.
But are their lives not in danger? They're throwing bottles. They're making Molotov cocktails. They are throwing
over a basketball
over a
game.
basket. Whatever the reason is, they're being arrested, but police lives are in danger. Nobody talks about how this endangered those are men and women who went to work that day, who want to go home to their family, who may not because you lost the basketball game. Now, that has to be different from men and women who go to work that day and may not come back because they killed somebody. And the thing of it is, the whole police department, when they put those people on administrative leaves, there's so many questions that I can see why they'd be put on administrative leave and investigations take place. Perhaps the police department is doing what they're supposed to do. But again, the media, twisting, turning.
Yeah. Like they trying to show, I seen someone showing all these minority business owners, which was they showed all these Korean business owners in the black community. Korean business. I have nothing against Koreans, okay, or any, what do you say, Arabs who own the businesses in the community or any other foreigners. But I have to question it because it happened in every black community across this country. See, if you was true media and you really want to know the essence, go find out where all these business loans that was supposed to go to black people, why did they go to these other minorities? That's frustration. See, you don't see that.
Why did they come to those minorities in such great numbers that these are not people who are here and decided to start a business? These are people who got these loans, and so they decided to come here because they had something to come to.
Yeah, and why is the rich man bringing these people over here to start these businesses? Because he wants capitalism, world domination. Because what they're trying to do, they can make they turning America into a ghetto. So when you watch all the movies and you see, like, what's that Book of Eli with Denzel, and that's what they want. That's what's going to happen. America is going to be a big old ghetto. And the reason why they're going to get away with it is because they're going to blame the black man. That's why they always get away with something. When crack first hit, it wasn't even a black epidemic. More white people was using crack, but they needed crack to stay. So they painted the picture as a black issue so they didn't really have to deal with it. They really didn't have to deal with it. Now, black leadership. You want to question black leadership? Where's black leadership? You know where they at? Bought and paid for. Same routine every time. I think a lot of these people, there go my cynicism. Some of these people that's a businessman probably went and burnt their own store down. Insurance fraud.
Why not? That's the same thing as the looters. Looters are not protesters. Looters are shoplifters. Those are people who would be shoplifting on regular days.
Criminals.
And so now they have a different format. Hey, they gonna get in where they fit in. Same thing with some of those business owners. I do want to get your opinion on one other aspect of this riot that's become pretty big. You know, there was the mother I think her name was Toya Green. Right now, I think
The
that was her
mother
name.
that was
That wailed on her boy because she saw him out there.
right.
Now, my first response was, I get it. She trying
Black
to
girls rock.
she trying to well, she was just trying to keep her child alive.
Right.
I get that. I see that. And then somebody brought something to my attention. I just wanted to get your opinion on it. What if would we still be hearing all these parent or mother of the year awards and all this kind of talk if that had been his father who saw him and went out there and wailed on him and got him out of the protest line?
No, he would have been where Adrian Peterson went when he was trying to discipline his son. I mean, she was straight up punching her son. Now, of course, he's taller, he's younger. In any other situation, if white people can use that, but any other situation, she would be in jail right now. I'm waiting to see if protective services or social services, what's going to happen. The woman was hitting her kid. Now, I believe she was in the right.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But you know me. I'm not going to fault her for doing because she just reacted.
Right.
Hey, that's the way she wants to save her kid. I get that. But what I'm tripping off of is how the media, they would never, we just talked about Black Girls Rock. They would be talking about she got 6 kids, no daddy in the house. You know what they would be saying. You know how they would be treating her in any other situation.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but negative stereotypes. Matter of fact, once they found out, because this is what would have happened. If she'd have been married and her husband was at work and the same thing would have happened, we wouldn't even be hearing about this story. We wouldn't even be hearing. But it's a single mom.
And so therefore,
yes,
we hear it over and over.
Anytime we can anytime we can paint the stereotypes, we're going to paint. Get your paintbrushes out because that's what they do. They show the same stock footage over and over of the protesters.
Every time.
Same footage. Sometimes they'll just show a lump about 15 people walking and then they create
But then they tell you that it's thousands. But you see the same 15 people.
Same 15 people.
Back and forth, over and over. I couldn't help but see how is it that these broken windows in a liquor store or a burning building is more important than the broken lives? But that's a whole nother story.
And we know nothing is going to change. I hate to be pessimistic.
Nothing's going to change for the system because you know what? The system is actually not broken. I don't think the system is broken. I feel like the system works exactly the way it's meant to work.
That his plan is in full effect.
It's working exactly the way it's meant to work. So the only way to change it is from within the community, to create a whole different system within the community.
Yeah, within the community. That go for you gangbangers. It is amazing. This man has had a plan to get rid of us forever, and you going to start joining gangs and stuff to kill each other?
Somebody was
what
talking.
What the hell?
How
dumb can you be?
Well, somebody was talking about black professionals or whatever and calling them sellouts or whatever. And I couldn't help but think, how is that being a sellout when that's where everybody should be? Whether your professional game doesn't have to be assimilation. I don't mean that. I just mean do what you know is right. To me, when you're acting badly, when you're behaving badly, when you're allowing this criminal element, when you killing each other, and you're doing it for money, for drug turf, that's selling out.
Yeah, a sellout is anyone who has made a big or small contribution to the destruction of the community. Whether it's a drug dealer, whether it's a gangbanger, whether it's a black leader who take the nonprofit money, because money's going to come in now. Federal funds is going to come in. Bill O'Reilly's, they're going to talk about all the money that's being sent to Baltimore. But who's going to get it? The politicians. And it is funny how this is Baltimore, and we just watched The Wire and all that, and watch how the politicians work and the police department work.
And that's why I was watching it.
And they even had some of the actors on there interviewing them, talking about, well, our show was great, and it was Let me say this about everyone who say The Wire was a realistic show. If it was realistic, why didn't they ever show cops being drug dealers? Why they never showed the cops controlling the drug dealers? The drug dealers selling for some cops. Oh, they left that aspect out.
Among other aspects.
That might have been too hard, huh?
Yeah, you a little harsh, but that's all right because that's what's needed. So
And so now, tomorrow, at first they were saying the report was coming out, but now they saying it's not. So look, this man died
2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago now.
We still don't know why. And white people don't get that. Like, how can you not? What the police is, what they trying to get their story together, they spinning.
And in the middle of it, they're putting out 3 or 4 different stories. So now they're trying to find a way to combine them all together, and that takes time.
Paid police informants. Now, you know, it's 6 officers that's involved. Now, here's what's sad. I know there's a lot of black police officers in the Baltimore Police Department, right? Now, if 1 or 2, 3, however, might be some black ones on there. White people so naive to racial issues, they'll go like this. See, it was a black police officer. See? They don't even understand. We're not even talking about race.
We're talking about the perception of these people.
We're talking about lives and oppressing someone and equality. You sell equality all the time in this country. You sell democracy around the world. We got militaries in other countries trying to get them right, trying to stop them from killing up each other. But yet it's still going on in this country. And you know why they can do it? Because they don't show this. They don't show that. They don't show that.
It doesn't get the ratings.
Okay. All them people who was protesting those businesses, remember, they was rioting. What's the Occupy Wall Street?
Right.
All white people rioting all day, burning up, turning over cars. Was that on the evening news?
Well, was it put at a slant that somehow their rioting was because they wanted to kill police officers?
Exactly. And that's why you say that. That's why I can't, a gangbanger. If anybody in my family, I remember one time we had a little cousin who was, out there, because I got some cousins in Southern California. And he came to the little family get together with his little colors on, and we had to take him to around the corner
to the woodshed.
You know what I'm saying? He was like 14 years old. He got caught up with his his peers and all that, and we had to show him there's only one gang. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, and
that's what it is.
That's what it is. It went down something like that, mama.
Like I said, they took him to the woodshed.
But it was men.
And that's what it takes on that end. This is a whole other situation. The two are not dependent on each other. It's a whole other situation.
Exactly. And so, on that said, until next week,
y'all be great.
Peace.